Hi, you guys. I wanted to make a video mainly about the coronavirus, which has become big news everywhere. Um, I wanted to give you some advice about how to deal with it. Of course, I'm not trying to go against the CDC, but there's some stuff going on that they're not reporting. And I'm going to be speaking to my men. I think you need to have Gabriel Chana, Fox News, break into the mainstream news broadcasts and get people some more information about how to deal with the coronavirus. You might say, what are we not hearing? Well, what you're not hearing is I believe that my men have undertaken an immunization program. And basically it works by, they're dropping something over your head. They're putting stuff in the air. I'm not sure how they're doing it because they haven't been communicating with me. And I think it's because we've got a court case going on with my family and Lori McBride. But they're putting stuff in the air and you get immunized just by breathing in the air. So there's nothing you have to do. But it does help, I think, if you're able to go outside and get in the sun. It's going to help you to get good vitamin D. So if you don't have a fever and you're not sick, then go outside, do the Gail commandments. That's the best thing you can do to deal with the coronavirus it's the healthiest thing you can do. Jesus Christ is the one who made the Gail commandments. So Seroquel is a good medication to be on to help with yeast because Lori is still dropping her yeast bombs. The coronavirus, actually, she seems to be modifying what she's doing with her yeast bombs. I don't know if it's just for me or whether she's doing this to everyone, but for the past, oh God, but somebody's out there doing yard work, but for the past, just ignore them if you can hear them. But like for the past month or so, I've had, the past 2 weeks, I have noticed a feeling of like a very slight burning sore throat, very slight. And it comes and goes. And I also have like burning eyes and it kind of like burns, but it's mostly in the throat. And I'm not sure how she's doing it. And other symptoms I have are gassiness and a little bit of diarrhea, a little bit of diarrhea. So whatever's in the bombs that she's dropping over our head is, it's like she knows I'm making a video and she's having somebody out there make a bunch of noise, but I'm probably hearing it more than you all are because I don't think my microphone's picking it up. But if it is, just ignore it. So the thing is, don't panic if you have like an acidy feeling sore throat. Check your temperature. If you don't, my temperature's been like 97.5, 98.1. The highest was 98.3 right after I came back from a walk in the sun. So just check your temperature. And if you don't have a fever and you're not sick, and you don't have upper respiratory, you don't have breathing problems, then you can just relax. Just relax. More than likely, the burny sore throat may be coming from the bombs that Lori's dropping over your head. And it's not COVID-19, it's something else. Maybe a yeast bomb. See, the symptoms that I have is I've got a burning sore throat that comes and goes. I've got flatulence, I've got bloating, I've got a little bit of diarrhea. And the burning also feels like it's in the intestines sometimes. So that's not COVID-19. That's something else. And it's what she's dropping, I believe, yeast bombs, but she's added something else to the mix to make you feel like you have a burning sore throat and maybe to cause you to panic and to think, oh no, I've got COVID-19. I gotta panic, and hunker down. If you don't have a fever, if you do not have a fever, okay, and if you're not coughing, I mean, I get a little bit of a dry cough from the yeast. And so have you noticed even in the past year, when I make a video, sometimes the yeast will make me cough. So a yeast cough, there's no congestion though, it's a dry cough, but then she appears to have created COVID-19 so that a lot of the symptoms of COVID-19 are very similar to the symptoms of the yeast infection that she's given you all from the bombs. So it's probably making you think you have COVID-19. So you're saying don't do social distancing? I think do everything the CDC is telling you to do, but don't panic. I hate that noise. I can just ignore them. It's like they know that I'm making this video. So just don't panic. My men have got an immunization program going on right now, and I don't know if they're I don't know if they're dropping bombs or what they're doing, but it's possible that while your body's being immunized, that Lori McBride could be using brain control, or she could be actually dropping stuff in bombs over your head to give you an acidy sore throat she's trying to undo the immunization, which of course makes sense. Since for the past 2 months, she's been on a rampage trying to make everybody sick with her bombs over everybody's head. And you remember a couple months ago, I showed you the swollen eyes that I got from that, which fortunately has completely healed. But the point is, she's been on a germ rampage, and apparently she created COVID-19. You said, you really believe she created it? Yes, I do believe this is a Lori McBride human engineered germ. And you might say, how do you think she did it? She might have been working with Melania Trump when Melania was still alive. Right now we have a Melania Trump automaton appearing with Trump in public. But she might have been working with Melania Trump when Melania was still alive on COVID-19, because it actually started around November or December in Wuhan, China, they say. My personal feeling is because Melania had control over the U.S. military, have you heard how China's accusing Trump? They're saying, Trump, it was your U.S. military that did it. Actually, that may be true. But I don't think it was Trump. It was Melania Trump, not Donald. So it might have been Melania. It's possible that COVID-19 is a Melania Trump invention. And Lori McBride just went forward with Melania Trump's plans, even though Melania died. So it's possible it might have been the U.S. Army. It might have been a Melania Trump was in charge of the U.S. military up until about February the 6th or 7th when we executed her. And right now there's a Melania Trump has been making appearances with the Melania Trump automaton, and I hear that Lori's been causing some complications with the automaton. And I've noticed Trump hasn't been making a lot of appearances with his wife lately. I mean, in public. He was appearing with an automaton. Lori has been working with Melania. So yeah. I personal opinion, I can't prove this, but my guts tell me that COVID-19 was created in a U.S. Army lab under the direction of Melania Trump, who was a Lori McBride Jesuit up until the day of her death. The reason Melania got so powerful and that we had to do such extreme measures to take her out, where I had to put on a performance and pretend like there was Secret Service at my door when there wasn't, is because she had the entire U.S. military on her side. And you might say, how did she do that? Well, she threatened to kill me or harm me if Donald wouldn't do what she wanted. And so because of that, she had the entire U.S. military. So my guess is, because this virus started around December, when Melania was in power and in control of the U.S. military, that it's very possible this could be something that was created in a bioengineered germ by the U.S. military under the direction of Melania Trump. So, but you can't really blame it on Donald, because he didn't want to do it. He was trying to protect me. So things got so bad, we had to take drastic measures. But thank God she's gone. Bad news is Lori McBride is working on stuff that Melania started but wasn't able to finish. Apparently, maybe one of Melania's plots to try to take me out was to infect me with COVID-19. I'm 62 years old, though. You might say, oh, you have COVID-19, you've got a sore throat. You know what? I was wondering about that. If this is COVID-19 and I've got it, which I don't think I do, because I don't have any breathing problems at all. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you why this COVID-19 could be so dangerous for you if you get into panic mode. If you get into panic mode and you think you've got COVID-19, here, let me tell you how it could get you into trouble. When you take Seroquel, which I think everybody should be on Seroquel, one of the symptoms of Seroquel is you get stuffiness. For me, it happens about a couple hours after you take it. And the way I deal with it is I use Breathe Right nasal strips and I take a decongestant. But one of the side effects of Seroquel is a couple hours after you take it, you get nasal stuffiness. But if you think you have COVID-19, you might stop taking your Seroquel. That would be worse than being infected with COVID-19 because then you would get the yeast. By the way, the yeast, I believe, is a more deadly germ than COVID-19 for several reasons. First of all, once you stop taking the Seroquel, and if you get a systemic yeast infection, more than likely your nervous system is going to get infected. And then what's going to happen is you will become schizophrenic. Once Lauren McBride is able to infect your nervous system with the yeast, she can make you schizophrenic so that you cannot distinguish reality from fantasy. So this is what you got to be careful about with COVID-19. If you think you're infected and you stop taking your Seroquel, you could end up getting a yeast infection, which would be worse than an infection. This is a very deadly yeast because it makes you go crazy. It can infect your nervous system and actually make you schizophrenic. And then Lauren McBride will be able to completely control you. She'll have complete brain control over you. So if you have COVID-19, do not stop taking Seroquel. Unless your doctor says it's life-threatening to you, but I would be really leery. Brent Spiner, we need to do something about this COVID-19. I really think one of Lori's purposes for doing this is to sabotage to sabotage our ability to combat her yeast infections on the public. And we need to break into all the mainstream news broadcasts and give the people the truth about COVID-19 as well as the bombs that Lori's dropping. If you've got an acidy feeling sore throat, okay? If you have an acidy feeling sore throat, but you don't have a fever, you don't have shortness of breath, except if you got some stuffiness a couple hours after you take Seroquel, and this is the way it's always been, don't panic. That happens to me now. Just drink a lot of water, which helps your body to get rid of toxins and germs and everything. Do the Gail commandments. Gail commandments. Thou shalt eat a balanced diet without concerns about allergens or toxins using the method of calories in, calories out. That's myfitnesspal.com. That make sure you get 8 hours of sleep a night. Thou shalt not toil in activities, even honorable work for the Lord, to the extent that sleep is sacrificed. Set aside at least 8 hours. Hey, getting sleep will keep your immune system healthy. Thou shalt honor the Lord's temple by taking time every day to self-groom, bathe, brush teeth, stay clean. Hey, that's not going to hurt you. Do that. Thou shalt honor the home of Jesus' favorite by taking time every day to clean, wipe down, laundry, vacuum, and dust your place. Gail commandments. The best thing you can do for COVID-19 is do the Gail commandments. Thou shalt go on walks every day. Unless he made the day rainy or unsuitable for walks, then exercise indoors with the windows open. When you go outside, my husband Brent Spiner is a medical doctor, graduated from UCLA Medical School. He told me the best way to get vitamin D is not from a supplement. It's from the sun. He actually told me that getting supplements doesn't work that good. that vitamin D is not absorbed. He said the only way vitamin D is really absorbed into the body is through the sun. And he had recommended that I go outside around noon for 10 minutes every day with no sunscreen just to get vitamin D. But the way I'm doing it is because I go for a walk at around 10 in the morning. I just go out for a walk at 10 in the morning with no sunscreen, and about a third of my walk is in shade. And as you can see, I'm I'm getting my sun and I'm getting vitamin D. Vitamin D is great for the immune system. You know, with a virus, they don't really have any drugs for viruses that I understand. You just have to boost your immune system. That's the best way. Do the Gail commandments. Go outside and walk. Get in that sun. Vitamin D sun. Thou shalt spend money only on food and bills. Now, if you were doing this all along and saving $100 a month, like the Lord Jesus said, you're ready. You're ready for this. You don't have to panic. You might say, I couldn't save $100 a month. Well, you were probably doing stuff, and you were probably spending money on things other than food and bills. I'm used to living like, so thou shalt take only one multivitamin and one allergy medication per day. Jesus doesn't want us loading up on all sorts of supplements. There are several reasons why I think he's done that. Jesuits often contaminate the supplements, and they put stuff in there to make it easier for them to make you sick. So you say, oh, I should load up on vitamin C. Just eat some strawberries. Or drink tomato juice. Make it part of your well-balanced diet. Don't go freaking out and getting all this stuff for, like vitamin C and all this. Just get your vitamins. Just take one multivitamin, one allergy medication per day if you need it. Taking supplements or special foods in an attempt to improve a health condition or alleviate symptoms is off limits. Jesus has plenty of reasons for telling you this. Thou shalt store away savings. Okay. Anyways, those are the main ones. You do the Gail commandment, you're going to stay healthy. Okay. You may say, what do you think about social distancing? Probably a good idea right now. Do what they say. I'm not trying to negate the CDC. What I am trying to tell you is don't panic. Stay calm. And whatever you do, keep on doing the Gail commandments. That's my main reason for making this video. I'm afraid when you start panicking and you stop doing the Gail commandments, like you stop taking your Seroquel because you think you're having breathing problems because 2 hours after because you got an acidy sore. Hey, Lori does appear to be dropping bombs that gives you a low grade burny sore throat. That sort of intermittent comes and goes. So I'm giving you a heads up about that. You must not panic. And so what she's trying to get you to do is to stop doing the Gail commandments. I think that's one of her biggest reasons for COVID-19. I believe Lori McBride wants you to stop doing the Gail commandments. You can practice social distancing by going outside, but avoiding crowds. Just walk on the street, most of the stuff that they're telling people to do, I've been doing all along anyways. The only thing I don't like about what she's telling everybody to do is starting 9 months ago to save money, I do a big grocery shopping like once every 7 weeks. And I spend like $220 on groceries, and I got a lot of canned goods and stuff to help me for the last 4 weeks. Now I may not be able to do that. Of course, I just did my big grocery shopping on the 10th of this month, so I'm good for about 7 weeks. So I'll be doing my next grocery shopping at the very end of April, and I'm hoping the panic will have died down enough by then that I can do it. If not, I may have to break it up into smaller portions, I hate to shop though. I hate crowds. And the funny thing is she's telling everybody to practice social distancing, but the guidelines are making people panic. So now the grocery stores are so crowded. It's like, oh, I don't know. I personally think everybody's getting immunized. That's from the yeast. I think everybody's getting immunized right now. So even if you catch it, even if you come into contact with somebody with COVID-19, what might prevent you from getting immunized is if you keep yourself locked in your house and you have all your windows down so that we're not able to get the immunization into the air you breathe. And Lori may be doing this on purpose. Even if you're locked indoors, it's a good idea to open your windows and let some fresh air in. But even better, go outside and walk, get your blood moving, so that Jesus actually puts medicine in the air to help us when we go out for our walks. So, yeah, do what the CDC says, but don't panic. I think most of us are immunized. You might say, what about what's happening in Italy? You think that's real? Yeah, apparently it's real. But unfortunately, we didn't start it. I don't believe my men started the immunization program until after Italy got really bad. But I believe that the United States should be okay. They may not be reporting accurately on the statistics. Actually, I think there are many more people that have COVID-19 than is reported on the news, simply because they haven't been doing testing and everything. But I don't think the germ, well, I think it's being overhyped a little bit so that you'll panic and take extreme measures, which will actually make you sicker. By not going outdoors and getting some sunshine, by not opening your windows to get in some fresh air and stuff, you're just going to hunker down in your house like a mole and actually make yourself sick by not getting out and getting some fresh air and sunshine, and when you're not sick. And you might quit taking your Seroquel. Oh, if you quit taking your Seroquel and you get a yeast infection, let me tell you something. The mortality rate for COVID-19 for most people is really low. It's like 1% at the most. Did you know the mortality rate for this yeast that Lori McBride is dropping over your heads is 60%? 60% mortality rate from the yeast that Lori McBride is dropping over your heads. So if you stop taking your Seroquel, what's going to kill you is not the yeast. It'll be, not COVID-19. It'll be the yeast. But because the yeast has so many symptoms that are similar to COVID-19, I don't know. Her doctors might lie to you and tell you that you're sick of COVID-19 and it could be yeast. Let's just assume the tests are accurate, which may not be true. Anyways, my men really need to go. The main reason I'm making this video is please do the Gail commandments. If you start going into panic mode and you stop doing the Gail commandments, you may say, but going outside and walking, that's not, what if I'm under quarantine? From what I understand, I don't believe the quarantine means you can't go outside and go for a walk if you're not sick. If they start doing that, then that's going too far. If the government's doing that. But if you're not sick and you don't have COVID-19, why can't you go out for a walk? That's crazy. I think Lori McBride wants to make you think that even healthy people shouldn't go out for a walk right now because you might catch it when you're out there. Catching it outdoors is pretty slim unless somebody gets right next to you and you touch them or they're breathing on you. But if you're outdoors, your chances of catching it are pretty slim unless a Lori McBride Jesuit comes in your path and maybe blows something on you. So I kind of like the social distancing, but you just gotta go out, go for a walk. Jesus is saying you need to go for a walk. Jesus made the Gail commandments. So, okay, folks, keep taking your Seroquel. Get some good vitamin D sunshine. Go out and go for a walk. And then do what the CDC says, but don't go overboard. Don't go overboard. Oh, hand washing is a good thing to do. That's a good thing to do. You may say, what about not touching the face? If your hands are clean, relax about the face touch and stuff. I'm still doing my facelift exercises, and I have to touch my face all over with that. But I've been, and I will admit, I have been I've been upping some of the stuff. Like I'm going around and sanitizing stuff I touch a lot using alcohol. But I didn't buy any extra hand sanitizer. I'm just using what I already have. And I always use hand sanitizer when I throw out the garbage in my garbage dump because I have to touch that lid, when it's full of germs. So I always use hand sanitizer. I've been doing that all along. So, just use common sense. I mean, yeah. And obviously, don't cough in people's face. Cough if you have to cough, go in there, okay? And I never have understood why people cough in their hands. That's a stupid thing to do anytime, not just with COVID-19. Why are you going to cough? Why do people cough like this? Why do they do that? That's stupid. And then they touch everything. That's a dumb thing to do, even when we're not having COVID-19. You want to give everybody the flu? You want to give everybody your cold? Cough like this, okay? If you have to cough right in there. And obviously, you might say, what about using a tissue? The problem with using a tissue is you're still kind of coughing in your hands. And even though, what if the tissue is not covering your entire hand and you cough in the tissue and it gets on part of your hand? I've been thinking about that. And then you go around touching everything. I'm not so sure about the tissue part. This way is better. But tissues. But if you do use a tissue, make sure it covers your entire hand, and then you have to throw the tissue out. Which means all of our garbage cans are going to be a hazard zone. But then they've always been that way anyway. So yeah, do what they say. Practice social distancing. But then I've been doing that all along. I'm kind of like I'm an introvert, INFP, and I hate crowds. So yeah. And I think it's a good idea for the church services to be virtual right now, online. So I don't have a problem with any of the CDC's guidelines as long as you don't carry it to an extreme. Like you don't need to wipe down all your walls. This isn't Ebola. It's like you don't need to go in a frenzy and every hour, just wiping everything down. Unless, use common sense. Don't panic. I think the most important thing is focus on keeping your hands clean. If you can focus on keeping your hands clean, that'll lessen the work everywhere else. Unless somebody's sick in your house and they're coughing all over the place, then you'll have to do things different. They're actually giving you a lot of good advice, but don't panic. Do the Gail commandments. Go out and get some vitamin D sunshine. You might say, oh, you're sniffling, you've got it. Maybe I do have it. Maybe part of the immunity that maybe my man have to give everybody a low-grade COVID-19 infection to give everybody immunity. I don't know. But then I'm practicing social distancing anyway, so it doesn't matter. But then I've always had sniffly nose. This is allergy season. And not only that, I'm allergic to yeast toxin, and she's dropping yeast bombs over my head. So if you haven't noticed, I'm always sniffling year round. So just because I'm sniffling doesn't mean I have COVID-19. I do have diarrhea, which is not a COVID-19. This is upper respiratory infection. So yeah. Okay, folks, do the Gail commandments. All right. Don't panic. We're going to get through this. The biggest problem that I have with all this COVID-19 stuff is it's going to put us into an economic recession. Just do the Gail commandments. Only spend money on food and bills. Okay? Jesus will take care of you if you're his child. So don't worry. Plus, I hear Trump is thinking of giving us all some extra money. That would be nice. So maybe Jesus is going to take care of us one way or another. Don't worry. Trust in Jesus. He counts the hairs on your head. Okay? One of my followers mentioned that they wanted me to make videos about my life, about a timeline of my life. I actually have, if anybody's interested in the timeline of my life, I'll have a link for that underneath this video. I actually have a page devoted to the timeline of my life. So I'll have a link to that page underneath this video and a link to the page. I have a page that I'm making about the COVID-19 virus and my recommendations on what you should be doing. And I'll have that underneath this video too. So yes, do what the CDC says, but don't go overboard. Don't do stupid things, like stopping your Seroquel or stop. And whatever you do, keep on doing the Gail commandments. Don't stop the Gail commandments.